This is 770 Radio K, Dub Narcotic Styles this morning. Hi, Calvin. How you doing?
Hello.
My name is Danny, and I'm joined here by Calvin of Super Dub Narcotic Sound System fame. Great show last night, Calvin.
Thank you.
Did you have a fun time?
Oh, totally.
What did you think of the audience in Minneapolis? It's been a while since you've been here.
Yeah, it was pretty groovy.
Mm-hmm.
Red Eye Theater is a really great place. And seems like they do all kinds of interesting things there.
Yeah. Well, you have to come back someday soon.
Yeah.
I thought what we'd do here this morning, instead of waxing poetic, is we'd just play some of the stuff that you've been recording. Actually, it was your idea. I shouldn't
Yeah. Well, it was just that Dub Narcotic is also a studio.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of recording this summer with different people, and I forget. Oh yeah, so there's a bunch of good stuff. I just thought I'd play it. I brought it along. So.
And is this stuff that's going to be coming out on K?
Some of it is. I'm not. Some of it's not coming out that I know of. I'm not sure what's happening with some of it. You know, like yeah, some of this stuff.
And are these mostly bands that you've been friends with? And
Yeah, like people that I know and just worked with.
Okay.
And you know. Mostly stuff that's done there is for K, but sometimes it's just people I know that are like, hey, we going to record us? Yeah, sure, like that kind of thing.
So do you think, I mean, since Beat Happening is broken up, and have you taken on more just studio projects like Halo Benders? Or, I mean,
well, we haven't really broken up, but we just haven't really been active.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in fact, this tape that you have in there is Brett's band, D+.
Oh, from Beat Happening.
Yeah,
okay.
And he's had this band going for about 6 or 7 years, and something he does in his hometown. He lives in Anacortes, Washington, which is about 120 miles north of Olympia, and that's where he does this thing. And this is a band that he's in with other people that live up there, and they came down about a week ago and recorded some stuff at Dub Narcotic, and it was really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's just like I mean, I'm sure you get asked all the time, is Beat Happening broken up? But you're just sort of doing other things for a while.
Well, it's really just, I mean, we're a band as much as we ever were. I mean, we've been playing together for a long time, and it's always been kind of like this. What are we doing? I don't know. And it's just, we end up doing whatever we do. And over the last couple of years, we've just played together once in a while, and that's what we've done. But as far as the rest of the world, only defines a band by their product or whatever.
Yeah.
And so people get confused and ask those kind of questions that they don't really apply to our situation, actually.
Cool.
But yeah.
Well, that sounds fair. Well, let's listen to D+. Who else is in this band? Is this some friends of Brett then?
Well, yeah, a guy named Carl Blau. He's got a tape. See, Brett has a label too called Know Your Own. And they put out a few things like the Crabs records and Gravel and a few other things that people up in Anacortes. And this guy Carl Blau has a tape on Know Your Own, and the other guy named Phil who has a band called Tugboat. And Tugboat's kind of a new force in Anacortes, sort of. They have their own label, and they put things out, and it's kind of a neat town. It's small. It's like probably 15,000 people or less, but they have some shows up there, and it's kind of real active. The kids there are really active. They do lots of stuff. So
awesome. Yeah,
we played a show there this summer with Tugboat and this other band called 66% Chick. They're all 14 years old, and they're just really great. They have great songs, and it's really, really fun. But Brett's kind of a driving force in that he's gotten a lot of things set up there through the city and other ways of sort of like having shows there and sort of enabling kids to. He sort of set up things so kids can set up their own stuff.
Yeah.
You know? He's a really good person for that kind of thing.
Well, let's take a listen. Do you know, which song did you cue?
It's called Book.
Okay. This is Book D+ on Radio K.
Dingo driving the wrong hand lane, bad friend. Talking about fresh rain, one hand. I'm gonna shake the sand. Are you gonna be your own goddamn best friend? Well, we taught the fruit how to eat itself. It was hanging out low on the shelf. Where? How do I land? How do I land? How do I land? I don't understand. Walk across the country, shaking many hands and you buy the product, but you didn't get it, that you already got it, and you do not understand. Well, take a drive in the wrong hairline, bad breath, talking about fresh rain, one hand, it's gonna go shake the same. Are you gonna be your own goddamn best friend? Well, it's not the fruit, how to eat it, so it was hanging out long on the shelf. Where? A black hole talking about nothing. You can't get the chicken or the stuff. Going around and you think that you're tough when you can't kick ass. Take a drive on the downtown train, wake up, so we can drunk again. Where? Take a drive in the wrong hand lane, got bad breath, talking about fresh rain. We tried the mirror, how to admire yourself. How you gonna get sick where you got your health? You walk across the country, you get a knock, get it, you call it God, then you get it on the train, but you usually get sick of your way out of sleep. Oh yeah. Where do I land? Where do I land? Where do I land? I don't understand. Why you empty your bottles and you think it's entertaining? You can't really complain, but you complain and it's already nothing. You go to nose like nothing eats up a muffin. A black hole talking about nothing. You went a multi-muffin and you got yourself a muffin. Black hole talking about nothing. A black hole talking about nothing. You get chicken but you don't get stuff in it. It doesn't get all that much in that.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Special stars, these special guitars, the candy-ass gods with their fingers all charred. I'm a newcomer to the protein summer. Give me a number and I'll wait outside. Got an infection and it's ready for inspection. Hold me stupid to the guts that glow. Our shield, we fly through the field. Mighty directions with the devil's field. World lands and we follow Earth. The sanitizers warping the surf. Gazing down to electric caverns. Lighting up with the curious patterns. Sucking their breath down to their necks. Wishing for the world's of fresh cigarettes. Now they paid in these tiresome graves. Sorcerers and punks get to shave. smashing, crashing, tight down, wrapped around, smashing the stars of your special guitars. The carry ass gods with their fingers all charred. I'm undercover with the protein summer. Give me a number and I'll wait outside. I got an affection and it's ready for inspection. Hold me stupid till the guts that glow. Armor and shield, we place in the fields. The mighty directions where the devil's all peeled. Right.
This is 770 Radio K, dub narcotic style this afternoon. And what did we just hear? Well, why don't you tell us?
Yeah, well, first thing there was the I forget what D Plus. That's Brett Lunsford's band. And Beat Happening, and something we recorded last week. And then we heard Modest Mouse, which is a recording they made in July with at Dub Narcotic Studio, and that was Beck right there. And Modest Mouse is a band that's from Issaquah, Washington. There, it's kind of like a little, I don't know, this group of people that all kind of grew up together and knew each other, and they're all like really creative. Sam, who's in Love Is Laughter, used to be in Link.
Yeah.
He grew up with I mean, they're friends. Isaac and he are about the same age or same, but and Link are with this great band that are from there, and there's a bunch of other people, and they all have all these different bands, and they're all really great. And it's like, wow, how these kids, this one generation of kids really creative. But Isaac is an amazing songwriter. He actually reminds me a lot of Beck because he's kind of like a perfect mix of Beck and Doug Marsh from Build to Spill.
Yeah.
And who was a big influence on Isaac. But Doug is a lot more kind of thinks things out, you know, when he's making up music. It's like, this should have this here and this here. Whereas Beck is more like, he just opens his mouth and it just comes out. It just flows. He's real instinctive. And Isaac's like a mix between them two, exactly, because he's always just, music is coming out of him all the time, but he's also very, very craft-worthy, you know, and just
organized chaos.
And so he's got a million songs, and he's recorded stuff at my house. It's like a couple of different, like 3 different sessions over the last 3 years, and it's all really, really great. He started out being kind of like a Love Is Laughter thing, and just him on a 4-track making a lot of noise, and those tapes are really amazing. And I always with the new band that he's got now, it's a rock band, and I always thought he kind of gave something up to do the sort of the normal rock thing, because as good as it is, it doesn't quite have that same completely off the wall feeling of when he just completely lets loose on his own. But the earlier sessions have some of that, even though it's still with like a drummer. He did a lot more noisy stuff and kind of off the wall stuff.
With Modest Mouse.
Yeah. The lineup has sort of evolved over time, and it's sort of set now with the 3 guys that are there now.
Yeah, and they've been touring quite a bit.
Yeah. And this is with the new lineup, and the scratching's done by a local DJ, and it's sort of one of the things that I wanted to have. Like, one of my ideas behind the studio is to have people feel comfortable enough to do things that are, if they wouldn't have time to do, maybe if they had to pay for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like, hey, come down here and kind of try to create an environment where people are going to mix things up a little bit. And it was like, oh, I just wanted to do this. And I'm like, well, here, I'll call this guy up, you know, and brought him over, and it worked out really well.
Yeah. Well, like we were talking about before, I mean, you run a record label, and you have your own studio and have your own bands, and then you get to work with these other bands who work with other labels. Is that kind of a uncomfortable situation?
No,
or, I mean,
not at all,
with the last 2 bands we just played, Beck and Modest Mouse, they record with other labels, and is there ever a feeling like where you'd want to put out their records only? And
Well, I'd love to, but at the same time, I just want to work with Isaac in whatever way
yeah,
it works
can.
out, you know. And he wants to put out records on all kinds of labels because he has friends that have labels, and he's just like, hey, you want to do a single? He's like, yeah, and he's spontaneous in that way, and that's kind of like this summer when we were recording. It was just it's something that we wanted to do, and it just worked out that way, and it was completely casual and relaxed. And I don't really want it to be a thing where like,
yeah,
you can't do this or you can't do that or whatever.
Yeah.
We place these rules on people. It's just like I want it to be a place where they can get away from all that and just concentrate on what they want to do.
And is that, I mean, would you say that's sort of the philosophy behind K? Oh, I promise not to talk about
No, that's
philosophy.
okay. Yeah, I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
with K, it's sort of a very grassroots. I mean, you guys definitely do it yourselves, kind of thing. And then when you got these bands, well, like Beck, who's on a major label, you think they? I mean, I'm sure the bands probably really appreciate that they can come in and do what they feel like.
Well, I think most of the people we work with, that's all they know how to do.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the people we work with do things the way they do it, and that's the only way they would be able to. You know, someone like Isaac is very talented musically, but he would never sit down and go, how do I write a hit song, or how do I become
Right.
famous? What do I have to do to make it, or
Yeah.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just not part of his nature.
Right.
He's just creating, and it just keeps coming out, and that's just what he does. And that's like a lot of the people we work with are
Yeah.
pretty much that's sort of their modus operandi.
Well, yeah, you've really established sort of this whole network of people on the West Coast that really do it like that, and you've sort of you sort of have this forum kind of through K to afford that, and it's pretty cool.
It seems to be working so far. Yeah.
How long has K been around then?
82 is when we started.
Wow. So you're coming up on your 15th year.
I guess so. Hadn't thought about that.
How did you initially start then?
It was,
start your own record label? Just
Actually, putting out cassettes was the first stuff I was doing. I was working with Bruce Pavitt in the early 80s on his fanzine, Sub Pop, and he was doing a cassette fanzine, and that was just got me thinking a lot about that.
And at
Oh.
that time, where were you at? You were going to school, or?
Yeah, I was going to Evergreen. He had just graduated in 81, and so he was still living in Olympia for another couple of years after that before he moved to Seattle, and yeah, we just started putting out some cassettes by local people and some compilations, and just kind of went from there.
So are you pretty happy with where you're at now? I mean,
Things
you've
are
definitely blossomed.
Things are working out pretty good.
Yeah.
We just moved into a different office building.
Really?
It's sort of neat old building that's been sitting empty for a year or so that we always liked, and we're able to kind of weasel our way into that space. It's really a neat place to be, so that's kind of got us a little more organized.
Yeah. And is there any massive projects for the future other than putting out records?
Well,
Are you going to be a huge media conglomerate someday? Or?
no, but we have, one of the things that we have in that building is we have extra space that we're renting out to other people. So, like Julie Butterfield, who used to live here in Minneapolis, she lives there, and she's doing her independent promotions 24 out of our building. And there's another label, Punk and My Vitamins, which is run by Vern from Unwound. They're up there, and this guy Chad is doing booking, and so it's sort of turning it into a little grill building there.
Great.
Which is like all these different people doing, so it's a nice environment, all these different people doing work there.
Yeah.
Stella Mars does her postcards out of there, and Al Larson, who we're going to hear a little later on with Telepathic Youth, he has an office there, so there, Nikki McClure, I was going to bring her.
Nikki stopped by here one time.
Yeah, I have a brand new single, which I left in the car. I was going to play, but she has a new single. We're going to meet up with her. She's going to meet us in Tucson and do like the last 2 weeks of our tour with us.
Okay, cool.
I'm looking forward to that. But she has a room up there, and she's doing all this. She does her, like, she sews mittens, and she does
She makes
printing.
great mittens.
Yeah. I was going to bring some
You're
to the
gonna
show
need 'em.
last night, but
Yeah.
I forgot. I left them in the van. I was going to try stuff out. Well, here's a town where people are going to buy some mittens.
Definitely, yeah.
But, yeah.
You gotta
So
start breaking them out.
so that Beck song was recorded a couple years ago, actually, and it's sort of an ongoing project with him to do another record, and
Yeah.
we've been working on it for Actually, we have stuff left over from the One Foot in the Grave session. There's probably
Yeah.
like 15 songs that were going to be like another record, but then he was like, well, I'm not really that happy with some of those. I'm gonna redo those or finish them. And he came back for this session, which was during Yo-Yo Go-Go, and then ended up just recording 12 more songs instead of working on the ones from before. And
Wow.
then he was here in June, and he did like another 20 songs. Because it's just like, he's like, oh, I want to do this song. And then he'll just start looking through, and just all of a sudden
Where
he's
does it come from?
I don't know. He's just got a million great songs, though. And that song was one where, actually, I played guitar, and he's like, hey, why don't you play, here, you make up a guitar part, and then I'll just kind of play along. And so I had made up this wooden kind of thing, and he turned it into this, really beautiful song, which
Yeah.
is great. So
Well, so
it's neat to watch that happen. It's really
that's
really
great.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
there'll be another K record soon.
Someday. Yeah,
Great.
who knows?
Well, I should remind people, I'm talking to Calvin Johnson from Dub Narcotic Sound System, and he's brought a ton of tapes here today, and we're going to play some of them for you. This next band is the Panties.
Yeah, they're from Portland. That's Heather Dunn, who was in Tiger Trap, and
Yeah.
she plays with Lois.
She's like the greatest drummer in the world.
She's she's great. She's in this band as a bass player, though,
Oh,
instead
okay.
of a drummer. And
How's she on the 4-string?
yeah, and she's singing some backup vocals too. But this band is actually Dawn's band. She started it as a kind of a solo thing, and then turned it into a band. And they recorded some stuff this summer. But they've been on tour around. I don't know if they made it out here or not, but I think they're going to be doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And you should check them out.
This was recorded at Dub
Yeah,
Narcotic too? Okay, this is the Panties. What's the name of this song?
All About You.
All About You on Radio K.
Before Christ, the light and
You do right, you do wrong, 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 you live right, you live wrong, you live right, you live wrong. You're not a saint, 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 you're not a saint. You do right, you do wrong, you do right, you do wrong, you do right, you do wrong, you live right, you live wrong, you live right, you live wrong. You walk right, you walk wrong, you walk right, you walk wrong, you walk right, you walk wrong. You're not a saint, 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 you're not a saint. You live right, you live wrong, you live right, you live wrong. You walk right, you walk wrong, you do right, you do wrong, you do right, you do wrong. You stand in the
this ain't your take your drink. You're not right, you're not wrong, you're not right, you're not wrong. You're not a saint, 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 you're not a saint. You're right, you're wrong. The land that milks you, honey, is the land to which you've been running. So lay down your head or sleep tight in bed. You're not a saint. You're not a saint.
.770 Radio K, dub narcotic style this afternoon. And my name is Danny, and I'm in here with Calvin from the Dub Narcotic Sound System. Played last night at the Red Eye, and Calvin's brought in a bunch of tapes from his Dub Narcotic studio that he's been recording in the past few years. What did we just hear?
That was Al Larson. He's in a band on K called Some Velvet Sidewalk.
Yeah.
That little thing was called Telepathic Youth. And it's something he does with the guy Paul Schuster from another band in Olympia called Pez. And it's like working with like a bunch of keyboards that Paul got. I mean, he worked at a music store. He's a bunch of different
Sort
synthesizers
of
and things.
vintage stuff? Or?
Well, I don't know, 80s and not too vintage, but you know, just interesting sounds. And then I don't know what's going to happen with all that stuff. I think I was putting together a CD for this label called Black Bean Presenta that has like live Some Velvet Sidewalk and then Telepathic Youth. And then he did a cassette like 2 years ago called The Insect Way, and all that stuff's going to go on there. It's all like really interesting recordings. And really
Is Some Velvet Sidewalk then sort of on hold? Or?
No, they're actually, we're going to meet them on this tour as well.
Oh, really?
For about a week, yeah. Do a bunch of shows with them. And they're going to album, they're recording in San Francisco with Greg Freeman. Should be out next year. It's called Hurry Up, Now It's Time.
Great.
You know,
Very cool.
And the makeup was there. And
that was excellent.
Yeah, they came on their tour last in June. They stopped off and spent like 3 days recording, and that song was after they did like 4 or 5 songs that they knew. They were like, okay, well these are our songs, and then it was like, well, why don't you do some more stuff? And they just kind of made up about 5 songs, and that's one of the ones they made up. And it had us Brian from Dub Narcotic playing a beer bottle, and Jeff playing the organ on that one. And it was kind of like it was all real spontaneous, you know.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun to work with them. And they're really great people. I mean, I had the privilege of working with them as when they were Nation of Ulysses, and I got a little gun shy because they came to town back then and recorded some stuff with me and Pat Malley, and they ended up, no, this isn't really good, we're not going to use this. So I was kind of like, oh boy, I got to really be good. And so it's really...
Treat them right.
I was really glad that they liked these recordings. I think it seemed happy with them and stuff.
So you think something might happen with the K stuff?
Oh yeah, we're doing an album. It's coming out
The makeup?
in February.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's really great stuff.
They're a really fun band.
Yeah, and Michelle's from our area, you know. She's from out in Olympia, so it's really neat to see her doing that.
Cool. Well, Dub Narcotic are on tour now. You're playing in Madison tonight.
Yeah, Madison, Wisconsin, with the Warmers.
Yeah.
And
very cool band.
Yeah, definitely, and doing the boot party tour thing.
So what's sort of the concept behind Dub Narcotic Sound System, the band? I mean, how did you decide to? Because at first it seemed like you just put out all these singles, and they're all sort of a little different, and
yeah, I mean,
and you call it dub, but it's not like traditional dub. It's sort of like.
Well, I call it Dub Narcotic Sound System.
Okay.
You can call it whatever you want, but I mean, I
Well,
still
and I
have
think
the
that-
idea that working with different people, and
Yeah.
I do that. I do that still. But the band that is on tour here, we've played together for a couple of years now, and it's really great. Todd on bass, he comes up with just really great bass lines, and we end up recording a lot of stuff that, like for instance, the song "Ship to Shore" that's on the album.
Yeah.
Lois sings on it, and that was something that we just recorded and said, "Hey Lois, why don't you sing on this?" And she took it and turned it into this great song, and that's what I want to.
So it's sort of
Work with the band like we do and playing the
Yeah.
shows is pretty functional as a unit like
Yeah.
that, but we also want to collaborate with other people.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's definitely a sort of house band type atmosphere to it, especially at like the shows, I'd imagine. And is it supposed to be sort of just a spontaneous collective thing, or do these songs stem from something that you've been thinking about and like the words you say?
well, there's no one way. I mean, all those things come together in different combinations on it, all the different songs. So.
So it's sort of like your studio is just bringing all these people together. It's
Well, I'd like one of the ideas I have, with Narcotic is trying to have people work together who wouldn't normally work together, and like Lois, giving her an opportunity to do that kind of song, which she wanted to do, but she didn't really know how to go about doing it, and so it's like, oh, here's this perfect beat, and just have her do her thing and show that she can. I mean, she really is a very creative person and great songwriter, and it's an honor to be able to work with her like that.
That's cool. Well, I wish you luck then with the tour and the band and any records you're coming out with in the future here. And you're going to give us a little treat. Are you all revved up? Maybe you
Sure.
can use this mic too.
Oh, really?
If you
Okay.
need to.
I don't know. I mean, you just have to make the beat kind of loud there. on the
Yeah.
headphones. I don't know how loud it is on that tape.
We're gonna try this as best we can. Calvin's brought in some Dub Narcotic sound system, sort of a backing track. It's not the actual band in here playing.
No, they're asleep right now.
Yeah, we're gonna do it karaoke style. I think you were inspired last night.
Yeah, definitely.
In the Dinky
definitely.
Town. This is Dub Narcotic Sound System, Calvin, and he's going to just kick it freestyle for us this afternoon. Let me cue this up.
Radio K, Rot Gut Session, Radio K. Larry on the drums. When it comes to geography, he's all thumbs, but listen to Larry, Rot Gut Larry. It's Rot Gut Larry, yeah. Rot Gut, Radio K, Rock and Roll Amy, she's on her. Rock and Roll Amy, Rot Gut. I'm thinking Minneapolis, Minnesota. They say U of M, we say Rot Gut Session. People, Rot Gut Session, U of M. And Todd, he knows the bass. And Brian, he came, he said, it's blues again. I know I can play the blues. We said, okay, but don't expect us to play it that way. We're gonna do it Rot Gut Session style. Radio K, Rot Gut Session style. They're thinking the warmers for coming and playing and showing us how it's done. DC, they're showing us DC style Ford. It's a DC, Arizona Ford style warmer show. Minneapolis.
Very cool. Is there more in here?
This is like something else.
We'll just let this groove in the background.
Yeah, man. This is the bone dry thing. But thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's very cool. I hope you come back someday soon.
Yeah, at least
Okay.
sometime in the next 4 years.
Try to make it sooner this time. Great. Thanks, Calvin. Have a good tour, and we'll look forward to all the goodies in the mail.
All right.
Okay.
.770 Radio K, Real College Radio 404. This is Simon Peter.
And this is Danny.
And this is time for Off the Record. Dead Kennedys, let's lynch the landlord.
You know, I hope my landlord's not listening, because, you know, I'm on good terms with him right now.
Well, I'm not on very good terms with my landlord right now. This morning in the mail, I received an eviction notice.
Oh, Simon. Oh, no. What did you do wrong?
I have lived at 2425 Lindale, apartment 2, for 3 years and 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I'm 23 years old. That's rare. And I am evicted because the house is falling to pieces, and I've warned him monthly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, water is running between the walls. And I'm upset.
Your third-story
No,
apartment's flooding.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't really want to lynch my landlord, but that was the best song I could come up with, and actually the first verse of that song exactly describes what happened.
Pretty
today,
appropriate,
so
yeah.
I'm really upset.
You're a little peeved.
I'm not peeved. I'm upset.
Well, it is Friday the 13th.
It is
you know.
Friday the 13th, and well, there you have it. I got evicted.
The worst is, it can't get any worse than that.
Well,
you know, I've had a great day so far, but I just broke my zipper. So it's starting to cave in as we speak.
Let's try to talk about some good things. Like, why don't you explain for late tuners in what we just heard in the last hour?
Well, we just heard,
so.
you know,
It was a recorded event.
Dub Narcotic Sound System were in town last night, of course, and they were supposed to stop by the studio yesterday, but as bands tend to do, they were running late, so they had to go straight to the show. But it turned out that everybody who was playing in town last night stayed at my house. So this morning,
You had
I had both Dub Narcotic Sound System and the Warmers.
and Martin Zeller.
And Martin Zeller stayed at my house. He slept in between the two bands. So this morning we were just hanging out, and Calvin's like, well, let's go to the radio station now, and I'll bring a bunch of tapes. I mean, this guy is just on 24 hours a day. He slept in his van, and he's just like, always.
They stayed at your house, but he slept in the van.
Well, yeah, they felt unsafe in my neighborhood or something with all their equipment. So I'm like, suit yourself. So they stayed in their van. Well, Calvin and the guy from the Warmers stayed in the vans. And so we came down here today, and Calvin's, you know, always recording bands, and what he did was brought in a bunch of stuff that he's been recording in the past few years. We heard, like, Beck in the Makeup, and so we played it this afternoon for you. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I was really...
That was priceless, that live jam session there. What, Rancid, Radio, Rock and Roll Amy or something?
I'm not sure. It's hard to understand what he's talking about after a while, but I was he's sort of a legend, and I was kind of nervous about meeting him, but he turned out to be a really sweet and actually really intelligent guy, and I had a really fun time with those guys.
All right.
And they want to come and play the Weissman next time. They were blown away by that. So
that can happen.
We'll have to
That
get
would be
that
cool.
in. That would be very cool.
You know, well, it is time for Off the Record, and we're going to try to reverse the Friday the 13th thing. And
yeah, try to bring some goodwill.
Me and Danny just got back from a week in New York City.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. It was fabulous fun.
A lot to talk about.
Yeah.
About that.
And, of course, it's Off the Record, and today's special live local band guest will be the Apollo Kings, who, by all measures, are like the ass-hauling band of the year. That's what everyone says.
Is that what they say?
Well, everyone just says, oh, I mean, man, I like this band. They just rock. they rock.
They haul ass.
Yeah.
We'll
they whoop the llama's ass.
They'll be hauling ass in Studio K later on today. And we got some new music.
Yeah, we've got
some new tunes.
Yeah, we got brand new music from, well, a bunch of European stuff from Chimera. Or
Shimura. They're playing Monday.
The Pansies, Gorky's, Zygotic, Minchi, maybe some Yatsura. We'll throw in some Melvins. They're not international, but and brand new local music from Think Tank, Dogtooth Violet, Deformo, Guzzard, Saucer, and Phone Job.
As my English teacher would say, your what hurts? I don't know. But let's jump into the top 7 then, and we'll get on with the show. This is there's 80,000 people at the show.
Hey Danny.
Yeah.
I got evicted.
we know about that, Simon. This next band, you know, Calvin was telling me this story last night about Cub. They recently played CMJ. I didn't go to the show, but I'm kind of glad, because I guess during the Cub set, they played at Maxwell's in Hoboken, and I guess the place went on...
Yeah, you can't even get over to Maxwell's without, like...
Well, yeah, that's why I didn't bother, but I guess the place got set on fire during their set, and everybody had to evacuate. And so I don't know. Maybe I don't know if it's the band or if it's the venue, but
Maxwell's is kind of scary. As far as I remember, it only has one exit, and it's kind of a cavern, you
It's
know.
not a good place to have set on. I guess they just remodeled too, so they'll be remodeling again there, and they'll be up and running. But this is a track from Cub. They're at number 7 this week. One Last Kiss on Radio K off the record.
much I can do. You're my Valentine, and there's so much I can do. This day comes but once a year, you know, it really means a lot to me. 'Cause you're my Valentine, you're my Valentine, and I can stay sober all day for you. But when the night comes, there's just so much I can do. Stay sober all day for you. But when the night comes, there's just so much I can do. When you wake in the morning, honey, I'll be waiting right there with a big fat dozen of roses. Some of them might are balloons in the air. 'Cause I can stay sober all day for you. But when the night comes, there's just so much I can do. Stay sober all day for you. But when the night comes, there's just so much I can do. So open your eyes now, honey. I can hardly wait. I wanna see you look at me like you did out on our very first date. You know, it's been so long, but you're still my only Valentine. You're my Valentine. You're my Valentine. You're my Valentine. You're my Valentine. You're my
The following is brought to you by Copper Sales Incorporated.
In today's technology-intensive world, a good education is more important than ever. So stay in school, get your education, and graduate. If you're a student considering not returning to school, think twice. Remember, education is the gate to a better life, and you hold the key.
This reminder is brought to you by Copper Sales here in Minneapolis.
All right, before those words, at number 5.
At number 5, Steeplejack with Valentine Sober All Day from their record Kitchen Radio. And if you listen to that record, you'll hear a lot of lyrical stories and portraits of my soon-to-be former neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of references to Whittier, Lyndale, Nicollet, Grand Avenue, all over the place.
You know, we were both in New York, and I actually had somebody who I met who was into this type of stuff who found out I was from Minneapolis, and they said, "Oh, yeah, that's Steeplejack." I was like, yeah, Steeplejack.
Absolutely.
So the word is out. Before that, at number 6, we heard Buffalo Daughter.
Speaking of New York.
Yeah, an appropriate song, Cold Summer, and Cub at number 7 this week, One Last Kiss. So what did you think of Buffalo Daughter?
Buffalo Daughter was pretty great.
Yeah.
They kind of confused me at first. I thought they had different personnel and everything, but and their names are Sugar, Moog, and Miki or something. But they had a boy drummer that isn't on the record. Anyway, yeah, pretty great stuff. Just noisy new wave, lots of synthetic action. But
It's sort of like if you were to pigeonhole it with all the other Japanese stuff, it's sort of like between Chibo Mato and the Boredoms. It's like noisy but kind of dancey too sometimes.
yeah, it's even yeah, but it's a little different. It's also got kind of Bananarama in there somewhere.
Ooh, that's a word I like to hear.
That's not Japanese though.
No. Well, let's get back into the top 7. You saw these guys in New York too.
I did?
Yeah, Low.
Oh yeah.
How was that show?
Yeah, it had nothing to do. I mean, not that I wouldn't go see Low, but I'm in New York, you know, so I should go see like.
See how they react.
They played at Knitting Factory right after Lois. Lois played with like, it was kind of like the show at the Bryant Lake Bowl, except with tons of each song had a different guest star performing with her.
Wow.
So.
Did Burt Bacharach get up on stage?
Yeah, and following that, Low got on and just transfixed the Knitting Factory crowd. And
was it pretty packed?
Yeah, it was full. Took me a while to get in, even with my little badge, you know. And there had to be one guy, you know. While there's people chattering and mumbling during the low set, which is like what happens at a low show, and it's kind of part of the ambiance, you know, that you kind of can't hear the music. And a guy goes right next to me, like calls out to the entire place, "If you want to talk, leave." And just the whole place cracks up.
Uh-huh.
Al's like,
I'm sure they're used
no
to
fighting,
that.
okay?
Settle down, kids. Well, without further ado, here's Low, and you can talk amongst yourselves. At number 4 this week, The Plan on Real College Radio.
Pieces of the at the gate to handed me pieces of the plan. Can I hold it for a week? Can I hold it for a week? Can I hold it for a week? Can I hold it
covering half the state. 770 Radio K.
Darling, you don't have to call me Stalin or even Mao Zedong, 'cause I'm far too young. My rising sign is Capricorn, is that surprising? You know that I was born so very soft and easygoing. I make no trouble at all. I was listening, yeah, I was listening to the devil's radio. I was listening, yeah, I was listening to the devil's radio. And it went na 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 on the devil's radio. Its tentacles are blind, it's like a weevil. It burrows through the land and everybody smiles, everybody smiles. Michael, don't you know someday a spike will grow right through the woodwork and come out through your palm? We was listening to the devil's radio. We was listening, yeah, we was listening to the devil's radio. And it went na 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 on the devil's radio. Sunsets on the devil. Sunsets on the west. He's listening to the FM talk show. It's what he loves the best. Talking through a bimbo, but don't touch that dial or that hateful smile. Kate said the flowers of intolerance and hatred are blooming kind of early this year. Someone's been watering them. We was listening, we was listening to the devil's radio. We was listening, yeah, we was listening to the devil's radio. And it went na 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 on the devil's radio. Na 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 on the devil's radio.
770 Radio K. Talk about Devil's Radio. Robin Hitchcock at number 2 this week. Devil's Radio on Real College Radio.
Did you catch the astrology lyric?
Yeah.
My rising sign is Capricorn. Is that surprising?
Are you surprised, or?
Actually, I didn't listen to the rest of the verse to figure out why he thinks that's weird.
He thinks everything's weird.
Well, yeah. I guess his rising sign doesn't really seem like Capricorn, but
it could be a mixture of several things that make up the Robin Hitchcock. Verses in there, number 3, Lose That Dress. It's off of the new Secret Swingers LP, and we also heard Low, The Plan. And you know, somebody once said there's those there's people that like to talk about music, and then there's those that like to listen. And unfortunately, they both go to Low shows, so I guess we have to deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd like to do both.
I like to do both, but not at the same time, I think. That's my deal.
Okay.
Let's count down the top 7 and get to the number 1 song. This week we have some new music around the corner from the likes of The Wedding Present, also something new from Lisa Germano and Shimera, and anything else we can find here.
We got new Pansies, Gorky Zygotic Minchi, maybe some Yatsura, Melvins, and local stuff from Think Tank, Dogtooth Violet, Deformo, Guzzard, Saucer, and Phone Job.
And of course, the special guests this week are the Apollo Kings playing in Studio K during the 5 o'clock hour.
And this is the Friday the 13th edition, so I'm not discounting the possibility of something going wrong. Justin?
Let's count down the top 7. Cub at number 7 this week. At number 6, we heard Buffalo Daughter. At number 5, Steeplejack, local music. Also low at number 4. Number 3, Versus and Robin Hitchcock. At number 2, and probably not by any big surprise, at number 1 this week is Sebadoh. And I guess they're like getting major spin action on MTV, and like.
Yeah, they have a really funny video actually. I
Really?
have to admit, I've never been the biggest Sebadoh fan.
Mhm.
Oh, here I go.
So what do they do in the video that?
Lou Barlow really makes fun of the kind of whining, tormented rock star stereotype, and just starts the video as just kind of like cringing and like falling all over himself in despair, and then the security guys have to haul him onto the stage, and then he's on the stage performing, and he's just bawling while he's singing, even though it's a pretty happy song, and the crowd just loves it.
Well, that's generally not too far from the reality for Sebadoh, I think. I don't know. We'll get to experience this. They're coming to town September 27th. It's quite a ways away, but here they are at number 1, Sebadoh on Fire on Real College Radio.
My opinion could change today, but I'm responsible anyway for second to third hand information that complicates the complication. And I don't think before I speak, and I don't know how far my words reach. So wrong nearly every time that I'm sorry I speak my mind. If what I said was unkind, now it feels like I'm on fire, and it's burning the world through. Don't hold it against me, 'cause I know you're lying too. Is there any need for apology? There's no reason to believe. Judgment's born in my jealous mind, creeping inside outside. Connections I've made never follow through, and sooner or later disappoint you. I'll cross you twice when your back is turned. That's how I learned that someone has got to be right. Now it feels like I'm on fire. These words are not the truth, but don't hold it against me, 'cause I know you're lying too. Feels like I'm on fire, and it's burning the world through.
record Saturnalia. This is new music from The Wedding Present on Radio K.
And this show, Off the Record, is also for blowing off your weekdays.
Your weekends. Or wait, yeah.
It's for blowing off your weekdays,
Okay.
starting the weekend. This is Off the Record on 770 Radio K. It's 4:42, and this is Simon Peter.
And this is Danny.
And we've stopped the top 7 business, and we're getting into the brand new releases, new local music, new music from around the world, and the Apollo Kings will be performing live later on the show. And you just heard another track from the new Saucer album, which is called Saucer, The cut was We Want Our Brains Back, and there's 30 songs on here, and many of them are very short, so I think I want to play a different one every week for like 28 weeks or something.
Sounds like a plan.
And, I mean, it'll be so short that, it'll just be kind of incidental at times.
You won't even know.
Catch the saucer track, and then you call in and you win it or something. No, I can't confirm that.
We'll
but
send you a free saucer.
yeah. We'll bring a saucer to your house. The wedding present before that, off of a brand new record from them coming out in November, so ultra sneak preview there. The record will be called Saturnalia, and the song we heard was called Montreal. Sebadoh with On Fire, #1 cut this week on the Top 7 Countdown on 770 Radio K off the record. And let's get into some new music from all over Europe and stuff. We're going to play a couple of things we brought back from New York, including a band from Finland called the Pansies, and a band from Scotland called Yatsura, and a band from Wales called Gorky's Zygotic Minchi.
Are you sure that's how you pronounce it? I've been saying Mincy.
Mincy?
Maybe.
Well, I don't know.
If there's any Welsh
Who has an
scholars
idea?
out there.
There's Justin. And right now we're going to start off with a band from Ireland called Shimera. And I used to play on an old early 80s IBM computer some little game that had a Shimera in it. And
That was the game?
it
What
could-
did you have to do?
It could poison people. I don't remember. It had a behemoth in it too. A Shimera, a behemoth, and some other mythical creature.
Wow, all I got to play was like Lemonade and Nomad.
And Pong. Okay. Well, Shimera is playing Monday night at 7th Street Entry. They're playing along with Suck Patch, Plexi, and Darling. Really great show. And we want to send you and a friend to see that show, Shimera and Suck Patch, Monday, September 16th in the 7th Street Entry. Just be the 7th caller after you hear the K at 626-4770. And right now we'll do a cut off of Shimera's album. And the album's called Earth Loop. And this song is called Catch Me on 770 Radio K off the record.